Hello everyone. We're trying to do something different today, even though I've already done this at least in 2 other videos, one of which is on this very channel, but it didn't work out too good, so I'm gonna hope this is gonna work out this time. Who the heck even knows? But anyway, so I know I'm very late on this, but third wheel review, I'm gonna shake things up a bit because instead of just going down play by play and explaining everything that happens in the chapter, you guys have read the chapter. I don't need to tell you this. You guys have probably read it more than I have, and I'm like, I'm like in on this shit. But anyway, so third wheel, what is this chapter about? Well, essentially it's about everybody knows Paisy is a thing before Paisy even wanted everyone to know Paisy was a thing, and also Abby chicanery towards the end there, which I actually really enjoyed. Paulo tells Daisy he loves her twice, which is a step in the right direction. We'll talk a little bit more about Paisy towards the end of this, or at the end of this. Lucy's surprised that Paulo and Daisy aren't climbing all over each other, or at least Daisy isn't, and given how Daisy has acted, it is reasonable to suspect that Daisy would be all up into Paulo's. It'll be interesting to see how Teshi evolves these two going forward, especially considering the end of this is kind of on shaky terms, but not really. Anyway, Mike knows, and he says that he's surprised, but not surprised. But, he is surprised. Of course, if they had been around in a Link play, they being Paulo and Daisy, they would have seen he was like, oh my gosh, how could this be? Or very surprised, and he kind of walks off all weird like. And then you have Daisy going down the list, talking to all these different people, all of which have had some sort of close or romantic interest in Paulo. But the thing that's very interesting to note is that the first person she goes to is Sue, which, more or less confirms that Paulo x Sue is in fact real. Now, whether or not Sue is the one with feelings for Paulo, as this image would suggest, or if Paulo is the one that has feelings for her, remains to be seen. Or maybe they both have feelings for each other. This is still a ship that I feel strongly about, and I think it is a lot of fun, and it is very cute. And to see Sue, and by extension even Paulo, sort of grapple with like, I can't believe I like this person. That's like an adorable thing. I don't know. I just really like the two together. It's hard to express in the feelings, Sometimes you just got a feeling about something, which we'll put a pin in that, talk about that as far as we get to Paisy towards the end of this. But the point is that everybody knew. And also Daisy even calls Tess, and Daisy gets in trouble for being on her phone, which I don't really feel is fair because Mike is on his phone all the time at school, and you never see him get called out for it, but whatever. And of course, Tess probably figured it out. I mean, after Paulo kind of shied away from going all the way on Silver Shore, she was like, this guy's either gay or he's into his best friend Daisy. And so after this, Daisy says, screw it. I want to do PDA with Paulo. And that can mean many different things depending on who you are, but she wants to hold his hand and hug him and lift his hand up and say, I love my boyfriend. And then she cuts short because Abby shows up, and now it's Abby time. And honestly, this was my favorite part of the chapter. Abby shows up and Daisy starts giving him the business about being in love with this character from a book named Ralph, and then Abby's like, I didn't know you felt so strongly about such a minor character. But he's actually there to talk about Paulo. And by the way, Paulo drops the title of the chapter in the chapter, which is always fun. I love it when they do that. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's like, I understood that reference. That's why the chapter is called Third Wheel. But is it about Paulo or is it about Abby? That's the question. I think it's about Abby, even though Paulo says he's the third wheel. Anyway, moving past this, Abby was actually looking for Paulo and wanted to give him a book about, how to deal with it when a parent fails you. And Paulo gives him a hug, and he's very appreciative of this. And I'm not gonna lie, I felt more chemistry between Paulo and Abby here than I feel with Paulo and Daisy. Like, there's like a genuine raw connection, an emotional connection the two are having that I just don't feel with Paulo and Daisy, but we'll talk a little bit more about that once all this is said and done. The point is, guys, is that love and hate are the same thing. They're two sides of the same coin, and that's why lovers to haters, oh shit. That's why haters to lovers is such a fun concept, which is why Sue and Paulo are my favorite, and I want to see them kiss and hold hands and be happy together. Anyway, enough projecting. So Abby says, farewell, I must be getting to class, or whatever specifically he says in the chapter. And then Paulo starts having second feelings about being with Daisy because he really doesn't want to hurt Abby now. Abby's trying to become a better person. This is a great step in the right direction for him and the character development. And Paulo wants to be a better person too. They're both trying to better each other, kind of using each other to do that. Like, there's even a little bit of teasing going on there. And it's like this right here is a wonderful, like, okay, yeah, it could just stay as a friendship, whatever. But this would be such a cute relationship for them two to be together. Is this what Teshi's gearing up to? Or is she gearing up for Paulo and Daisy and Abby to all be together in some three-way? I mean, I'm telling you now, I don't think that Daisy would mind a three-way between her, Paulo, and Abby. Like, she'd have her cake and eat it too. And if you know anything about Daisy, she likes to eat, so that would go, that's a something, that's a joke or something, I don't know. Take that how you will. And of course, Paulo's bisexual, so he could finally get with a guy, and Teshi could stop pussyfooting around Paulo being with a guy and do that. And, you know, I don't think Abby is bisexual, but then again, everyone's bisexual in this world. Even you, the reader, are bisexual. So, fuck it. Why not? I mean, Teshi even floated the idea of getting James and Abby together, even though it looks like it's going to be James and David, given the current chapter, which I'm very excited about. It is very important that David and James be together at all costs. I will not explain further, but it is very important that they do. Anyway, so that kind of just brings us to the end. Paisley decides to stay Paisley, and then the chapter ends. Here's the thing about Paisley. I get the point is that they're both emotionally vulnerable with each other in a way that they're not with everyone else. I get that's why, like, they really genuinely deeply care what the other thinks about them in a way that they don't really care about what other people think about them. But why? That's the thing I don't get. Why do they feel that way about each other? Like, there really doesn't seem to be any sort of common ground or commonality between the two, because Paulo doesn't really like reading. I mean, now he's gonna read because Abby wants him to, which is more than what he wanted to do with Daisy. So that's more proof that maybe Abby and Paulo should get together. Also, there's been a huge uptick in people wanting Abby and Sue to be together, and so to make everyone happy, why don't Sue and Abby and Paulo just get together in like one big three-way? You know, fuck it. Like, we're talking about if three ways are on the table, you know, it's fucking play ball. Continuing forward, I don't get why they feel the way they do about each other. Like, that's the thing I don't see. I don't feel the chemistry. I feel like this is like Daisy's just taking charge of everything and just being completely crazy with this new relationship and like acting almost out of character. Like, she's turned into a completely different character now, I feel. It's not even like the Daisy we knew. Like, even when she was with Abby, like, she wasn't flaunting him around. She wasn't running around acting crazy and going like, oh, I can't believe somebody likes me, blah, 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 blah. No, it's like she got with Paulo and just lost her mind and just turned into this completely new character that is not Daisy. We'll call her Tulip. This new character's Tulip. We got to keep going with the flower theme. We'll call it Tulip. So yeah, all in all, I mean, this didn't really move the needle for me as far as Paisley's confirmed. If anything, this just kind of reaffirms that there are other characters out there that are better for these people to be with. And I just still don't get why they feel so strongly about each other. Like, I don't get why they're emotionally vulnerable with each other in a way that they're not with other people. Like, why is that? They don't really spend a lot of time together. So why? That is the question I need answered, and I really haven't been able to get an answer for that. Anyway, I guess it brings us to the end of this review. Hopefully the green screen worked. If it didn't, then I'm a clown, and I'll just put up the pages as normal. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being patient. Life has been pretty rough recently, and things are still, in a way, they're in a state. I do be in situations for sure, but I'm gonna keep trying to do the content train for you guys, because it's important to get back up on the saddle. And yeah, I think it's gonna be lunch soon. I guess that's it. Bye everybody. Bye.